Now let's go through the 3 foundational points of PRF. Step 1. PRF coverage is designed for native rangelands and any perennial plantings intended for forage, such as improved pastures or alfalfa. Base values are used to establish an estimate of forage value. This page shows the various base values in Colorado. Counties are grouped according to similar geographic regions and assigned a base value for native rangelands. These county base values will change slightly from year to year as determined by the Risk Management Agency's pricing model. If the insured believes their forage is more or less productive than the base value assigned, they may use the productivity factor to reduce the base value to as low as 60% or increase it as high as 150%. For example, the grazing land base value for Otero County, Colorado is $11.90 per acre. You have the option to discount it to $7.14 per acre or increase it to $17.85 per acre. The more coverage per acre, the higher your premium and vice versa. Step 2. As with all insurance programs, the PRF program has a deductible or coverage level. The coverage level ranges from 70% to 90%. The high end of 90% coverage is reasonable since PRF is an area-based plan versus an individual property plan. This slide shows the coverage levels as well as the subsidy available at each coverage level. As indicated, the RMA subsidy ranges from 51% at 90% coverage to 59% subsidy at 70% coverage. This is typical in crop insurance. The more risk a producer takes, the higher the subsidy. The PRF coverage level can also be thought of as a trigger level, or the point at which indemnity payments begin. For example, referring to the May-June daily precipitation chart of Otero County, Colorado, grid 21707, you can see the May-June cumulative precipitation came in at 1.68 inches or 51.63% of normal. This next page shows how the coverage level is used in the PRF loss calculation. Step 1. Determine the dollars of coverage per acre. Step 2. Determine the dollars of coverage per interval. Step 3. Determine the loss ratio. Step 4. Multiply the dollars of coverage per grid and interval by the loss ratio. As you can see, this formula allows for a higher loss payment as the percent of normal rainfall declines. This chart shows the loss payment at different coverage levels. Here you can see where a higher coverage level produces a higher loss payment and vice versa. Step 3. PRF allows you to split your coverage among 11 2-month timeframes in each rainfall grid. These 2-month timeframes are called intervals. The 11 2-month intervals offer maximum flexibility to place rainfall coverage during months critical to your growing season. For example, after discussing a producer's interval choices, he declares he would be set if he could order up rainfall each year in June, July, and August, September. Assuming 10,000 acres to enroll in the program, we might cover 50% or 5,000 acres in June, July, and 5,000 acres in August, September. This interval allocation process is where we spend a significant amount of time helping you decide on your coverage for the next year. Our software, RangeCalc, also contributes to your decision-making process. There are a few rules in the interval allocation process. Number 1, for ground in the same grid, you can't insure intervals sharing the same month. Number 2, at least 2 intervals must be chosen. The minimum percent of coverage is 10% for an interval, and the maximum ranges anywhere from 50 to 60% of coverage depending on the state. Number 3, the summer intervals are not available for coverage in some states due to the low historical average precipitation. One of the most unique interval features is that each interval acts like a mini insurance period. In other words, above average precipitation in one interval has no impact on a loss triggered from a dry interval. Thank you for your patience as we've laid the groundwork for understanding a PRF example. To see an example, please visit Chapter 5.